are changing it to a speedster.
There it is. That is for sure the night. I'll get back at it in the morning. Right in my face. Back on the Porsche. So when we left you a couple days ago, we fitted this new door. Beautiful door. Look at how nicely it fits the cowl. Speedster, speedster. And if you follow your hand right here, doesn't work. Have a look from there. So that doesn't work. So we've got an issue with the height of both panels. We got an issue with the curvature. So I did a quick tape line late the other night to try to give myself an idea of how to shape this, because I do want to keep this where it is. I believe a speedster one comes maybe 3 or 4 inches further forward. That's not really what we're going for, and we know this is a custom car anyways. So there's that. I'm going to trace a line right here to give myself a very rough idea of what's going on here. So that means I'm going to be building a panel likely from this point up, have the same curvature, have a bend in it. We would make that out of 1 or 2 pieces normally. I'm going to take another old trick that I learned a long time ago and try to show you guys something you can actually do at home a little easier. Hopefully you appreciate that. So probably first thing I'm going to do is weld the door shut. Oh no, I got to cut stuff off first. If you look on the inside here, there's another panel here that boxes this in. So what isn't apparent is that we're going to come right to here kind of with that, you know, in no man's land. I'm going to do some cutting. And I'm going to take a piece of steel rod, do that profile till it visually looks good. And we're going to use that steel rod as a reference to make the first panel and the second panel. Second panel, of course, will be way easier. Okay, I'll do some cutting. Right in my face. That is the reason for having a guard. Not good. Now, if I could remember where I put the guard for this thing, maybe we'll switch to a smaller cutoff wheel. How about that trick? been a while since I had one blow up in my face. In case you're wondering what I'm doing there, I'm cutting it 6 inches long on both ends so that I actually can hold it to twist the shape into it. Save that for the other side. Take you guys with me to an old tool that I got years ago. This way. Now, if you don't have a 100-year-old set of rollers, don't worry about that. You could just use your knee or put it in the vise or anything, but this just looked like it was going to be more fun. Look at that old guy. He's been used a lot as an old, he's been holding up extension cords lately. There. So what I did is I made some markings. I know that I don't need it to bend much over here, and then progressively a lot more. So we're going to spend a little more time here making shape. We'll see if this works. Might not work. See, I'm running out of space there a little bit. I have to reorganize my yard. Move the transmissions. Lucky this thing's on wheels. No, I gotta turn the whole shop upside down just to get to my tools. Still tons of crap in the way. This should work. Okay. A little bit of rolling, a lot of rolling. Rid of that guy. All right. Let's put a little pressure on that guy. Something like that. And away we go. So we haven't done much there. That's okay. Let's pull it out so you can see. It's not much of a smiley face yet. Gonna be a bigger smiley face coming up. Out. Shouldn't have enough wisdom to do that. Okay. So I'm adding a little bit more to it here. Oh, shit. This poor old tool. Yeah. Now, if you had a super awesome set of rollers, you probably wouldn't be rolling round stock through it, but oh yeah, I think I'm happy there. Yeah, you could see more curve here than here, which is what we were going for. Now, how does that blend into the car? We don't know yet. I think I want a little more curve in it overall. The thing about putting curve in it is then you don't have a straight line. I really find straight lines on certain parts of cars makes them look customized. And the sign of a really great customization is that nobody can tell you did it. Come on now. Yeah, there we go. I think we're gonna go even more. There we go. All right. We'll release that guy. Hopefully I haven't overdone it too much. Let's go look. Yeah, definitely a similar shape to the original car. We got lucky there. Need a bunch more curve there. The curve's gonna have to start a little earlier. But it needs to basically go 90 there. That's a lot more action. Okay, back up we go. We'll try not to make this like the shrinking videos where I go back and forth 100 times, but it could happen. Okay, new marks. We want a bunch of it there. So everything seems pretty good up to that point. So we want to really turn this into 90-degree turn here. That's curvy. Nice. I'm actually using a bit of pressure here to help it. We're getting there on the 90. I want a little more in here. Holy, it's curvy enough. Are we there? We might be getting close. Let me go check it before I overdo it again. Yeah, that's getting close to 90. Let's go check that out. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Boy, we are. Very close with that. In fact, oh boy. in every direction, actually. Okay, I'm just going to weld this door shut right in the middle of the adjustment we're looking for. Otherwise, there we go. I could probably go in just a touch. Cut that apart. Weld it again. I might need something to stand on. That's good. There we go. It's a little deceiving because the shapes are changing right in the middle of the door. Nope, still no good. Sprung out just a little bit here. There. Who's that little guy? I need that at exactly the right height. Interestingly, the metal is away from the door. Fix that to start with. Yeah. We could do that. I'm going to weld that on in alignment with the door to get started here. Maybe I won't. That aligns. Yep. Oh. Just need that to hold itself in place for a minute. Now at this end, you can see I made a mark here. What I'm going to do with that is I'm actually going to cut into the body and try to slip this into it. It's going to be a bit of a fool around, but I'd like to visually see that profile. Maybe even run some tape to it before I make a heavy commitment to it. This way I can cut the rod a little bit longer, sneak it under there, and if I have to change the shape, at least I haven't wasted this rod, if that makes any sense. You can see here, I just cut a little window in there. I'm going to try to sneak this rod in there into the window. Now I got to cut the rod. I think they're going to inset there. Make it just a little longer. Now, am I going to be able to sneak that much in there? Maybe not. It's going to be shorter. Okay. There. Are we headed the right direction? See the line? Yeah, it's looking, feeling good, looking good. Need a third hand to make this work. Okay, so now we'll wait for Gary to be done. I'll show you guys why this is a critical piece. Okay, so I'll explain how much this piece has to be 3 dimensions. And this is what's going to make the car believable. You have to look from this angle. You can see the quarter panel is way too tall for that door. So we had to start lower, and we still have to connect with the car somewhere in a really nice pattern. So there's your arc that connects it to the car. So I'm happy with that. You can really see it from here, because you're going to be able to stand beside this car. It can't look stupid, so that has to look good. And then there's the third dimension. See how nice that's going to contour and then blend into the car? Okay, that was the easy hard part. The reason it was the easy part is because it didn't take long to figure that out. The hard part is a lot of people screw this up and they don't stand back and have a really good look at it. So you really got to stand back and have a look. My next step is cutting a bunch of this material away, and then we'll have a look at that bar. See how flexible it is still? We'll have a good look at that bar before I start making any sheet metal. The accountant from the phone. We are going to cut a big chunk off this car. Now this is really an exploratory cut. I may have to cut further down after. Actually, I'm going to start a little further down. Can't turn back now. All right. I'm gonna do it. Let me get the dangerous grinder out again. Okay. That is that. Now I'm not going to throw that away. I think just 'cause. Okay. That's making lots more sense. So have a look at that overall line. What I'm going to do is put a little tape to it. Because remember, like we said, we want everything to look right. So, for everything to look right, this is the part of the job where you slow down and think about it a little bit. Okay, so does that help you guys see it just a little bit better? So we're gonna go kind of across here. Keep in mind it's very flat right now. I'll have to put some curve in it. Right through here. And then the blend into the back of the car has to be correct too. So that is there. You can see the transitions look really good. Looks great down that side. I think that's going to work out just fine. You can see right here something I'm going to have to fix. See how it's peaked up here? I'm going to fix that by cutting into the quarter panel and moving this metal down. It's probably one of the first things I'll have to do. Yeah. Which means cutting the door open again. I might take some sheet metal and start fooling with it, but no, actually the first thing I got to do is do that. I think I'm happy with all of that. What I was looking for is to make sure that this line flowed really nicely all the way around, which it does. Okay. Back to cutting things apart. Cut things apart, weld them back together, cut things apart, and weld them back together. The tricky bit here is I don't have a set of latches for this car. So if you're watching and you've got a friend that plays 356s, and you've got a set of early latches or late latches, I'll make either one fit. But I can't, normally I'd want to latch the door, do some work, open it. Now I'll have to cut it open, re-weld it shut, cut it open, re-weld it shut. So I'll make my marks. It looks like the body is exactly the same here. So I'm going to need to cut down to there and to here and create that curve. It'll be interesting because it feels like there's a little extra material here. So as I pull that down, I may have to work that face there a little bit with a hammer and just pull it in. Because we want this point here to perfectly blend with this point here if you were to take and just sort of run bodywork shapes through here. So it's easy enough to make the door edge fit, but then if there's a bulbous piece here, that doesn't work. But it feels quite flexible. So I may be even able to do that here and let the metal kind of protrude a little bit. If that makes sense. Okay, let's get cutting. Okay, so I'm just going to use a straight edge here. Try and shut the door in the right spot. Now I'm going to go and get a longer straight edge to do what we talked about and just make sure that this space is in the right spot. I don't think it is. I think it wants to fold more. And we're just going to hammer and dolly that. We got a nice piece of flat bar here. So it looks like that's telling me the same thing that I noticed. And it's like right here. That whole area needs to be dollied in just a little bit. Problem with that is it has to be shrunk at the same time, so I'm hoping to just roll it over without stretching it too much. Get you just a little closer here. That's the area that I'm gonna have to work at. And again, you can see when I bring this in, see how that's a high spot? If it was flush, the high spot would be kind of in the crown of the car, not later in the wing. So if we were to push down on this, there's resistance there. I think that'll be as simple as dollying that out. But metal tends to have its own personality, so you never know. Oh shit. I can't get back there. That's a whole nother problem. Maybe from the bottom? Yes, there we go. Now, if that gets any worse, what I'll likely do is just cut it a little further down and take the curve from earlier on. Okay, I'm going to keep some tension in that quarter panel. Okay, got a little too much material here. I'm going to grind that away. Then I'm going to take a paper template of this, start putting a little shape into it. It's interesting because it's going to be multiple shapes here. There is definitely some interesting shapes to have to work with here. And we're not saying the quarter panel was straight to begin with, so some of that is a challenge right off the hop. Okay, grind. A little bit of grinding. Hopefully you guys are seeing the difference there. Sometimes it's tough to see in the camera. We're trying. Okay, that was just for demonstration purposes. Now we'll go get a piece of cardboard. And get the rough shape into place. Oh, you see that? Woo! That is an overworked piece of metal. So it was overworked before I got to it. Now, of course, it's going to be worse. There was a bit of a fat spot here early on. And then you can see the sandblasting and the rust has made this flimsy. So we'll be having our work cut out for us there. Very slight curve. So it won't take a lot of English wheel to put that together. All right, looks like a big piece of paper. Okay. I'm gonna do a bit of transfer here. Just do this. That's gonna transfer some of that back. This is gonna transfer the other bit of it. I'll go look on the other side and see what we got. All right. Got a good amount of shape there. Looks like a banana on this end of it. Okay, perfect. I'm going to go transfer that onto a piece of steel. Get myself a nice piece of steel cut out. Start shaping it. How about that? So I've got that shape, which is a little bit bigger than what we need in the end. And I'm going to make this an inch bigger while I'm doing it. You can see how cutting it actually makes the metal stretch all to heck. So we are going to push it through here. Need some space. Too many cars in the cook's kitchen. All right. You've clearly seen a bunch of these before. Nothing new about an English wheel. So here's what I did. Here's the panel I want to end up with. And I wanted to make sure I could roll off the edges so that I could have the edge nice and round. Of course, we're going to break that one in the end. So I'm not going to make that one nice and round, but I wanted enough room to hold it with my hands. And you can kind of hear something in here that's dirty. You don't want dirty stuff. Thought I'd clean the wheels good. There we go. You can already tell it's getting some shape into it. You can actually feel it there. It's really good. I'm going to tighten the wheel up just a bit. Just put a little more shape into it. Okay, you see all of us always trying to twist the panel back into shape once we got that. Oh man, I'm looking at that thinking, it's very close. Now, that's made this a whole bunch worse. I'm just going to shrink that for just a sec. Try to get the whole panel to be happier. All right. See how that tightened it right up there? That's what we're probably looking for. The other thing that giving yourself some space around the panel does, see these stop and start marks? They can kind of make little divots in your panel. So notice I'm going to cut those right off after. Okay, feeling really good about that. So we'll go test it on the car. Well, sure looking like it wants a bunch more curve. It's actually interesting because it has lots of curve here and then not as much here. So what I'll probably do is leave the upper part of the panel alone and try to put in a bunch of curve right here. Right along here. I'm going to put some lines in there. That section right there needs a bunch more curve. What I'll do this time, I could put a different wheel on it, but I feel as though the profile of this wheel is good. Maybe I will. Maybe I will just for fun. Here's the other thing you may not realize about English wheels. You can get different wheel patterns. So there's a more aggressive one. So we're going to use this more aggressive one and do some work with it. Just to add that little extra bit of curve on the end. Again, we're just going to look for that one to get curvy. That's working. I have to work a little harder. Oh yeah, it's got really great shape. I'm going to shrink this just a little bit too. Okay. Yeah, we're getting there. So what I'm trying to do is match this profile on the door. You can see we're starting to get something that's close, especially in the middle here. So I'm going to just curve this by hand a little bit on the bench. Yeah, see how close we are there? See the profile starting to really work? It's not going to take much to bring that together. Okay. I think what I want to do at this point is I'm going to get a little bit closer to our original lines because I don't think it needs a lot more English wheel. So I can risk pinching my fingers now. And I'll just go ahead. Yeah, look at that profile. And just a little bit more bending and yeah, there we are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get within 3/4 of an inch of the outer perimeter. And that way I can work with that. Yeah, so let's go do some cutting. So one thing I was teaching Teresa last time, if I cut a very small 3/4 inch or 1/2 inch band off of this, it won't affect the shape of the main panel. It'll just curl the outside piece. So it's going to take me a little bit longer to do that, but the shape will stay in my panel way better. That energy of the clippers has to go somewhere. So if you feature that you're going to cut right down the middle of this after giving it shape, it'll start to walk both the sides away, and I don't want that. So that's what I'm doing. It only takes a few extra moments, and I haven't really lost the shape of this panel yet. I'm going to take this over to the shrinker just to get that little wow out of it. Could be good. Could be good. Yeah, I'll show you guys a couple things I'm noticing here that I want to fix. See here now that I've cut everything, the shape's gone out of this just a little bit. So I'm gonna make a couple passes through the English wheel just at the start there, kind of fix that up. And if I bring you over here, you can have a look under here and you'll see this is really sticking up right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shrink that, and that's gonna pull this down and actually create shape. I'm just gonna create that round edge that we need. Okay, so to solve those problems, we're gonna do a little bit of English wheeling. Ooh, see that? That was bad. Hopefully we got the technology to fix that. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, perfect. So we're going to take this edge and shrink it. And the shrinking actually puts little marks. You see the light there? It bumps up and down. So that I'm going to get out by just wheeling it just a little bit. You can hear it almost. See it shaking there? When it's done with those marks, it'll stop shaking. There. That's really good. And this needs a little bit more love. I'm going to give it the squeeze on that one. Don't bend it, JF. Okay. Now this process could be painstakingly long, and I've heard you guys say bring your tools to the car, but look around. I don't have enough space for that. Yeah, see the profile's matching the door really well there. Profile's matching that really well. Wow, you could really see it here. So we've got a weird shape in the car that's almost gonna have to be a dent in this piece. I'm not ready to commit to that dent yet. I'll show it to you here. So the car, from the back here, has multiple shapes, right? So I'm trying to get this contour right, and then this contour right. So those are both crowns. See this shape coming in? Reverse crown. When I have this panel here, see the gap gets created. We've got this all nice and tight. So I'm almost gonna have to, not almost, I'm gonna have to stretch this the other way. Not sure how I'm gonna do that yet. I could pound it into a bag, because I'm getting far away there, right? The other thing I could do is get on the English wheel and put it on, run this the other direction, which is what I think I'm going to try to do. Just light little rolls going this way instead. So we're going to try to create a crown this way. Now, one of the things I have to consider is how far away I really am from that space. So I might take just a little more material off of here to get closer to here. You see this reverse crown kind of disappears into here, and then this stays crowned. So if I've got a little less material there, maybe that'll fit better. So we're gonna just take a little scoop out of here. So you'll see the difference instantly here. Whoops. I don't drop the phone too many times. Okay, oh, there you go. Yeah, see I got away from this low spot. Now my crowns are working better. Oh yeah. So what I might do now, same thing here. I'm gonna trim this down a little bit. We're just a little too far into it. Got lots of space, so one more little trim. That's starting to fit nice. And in my head, I'm still thinking this is not going to fit as well as I want it to. If I get up into here, it fits better. Yeah, that's the place that it wants to be there. So I'm just going to change its sort of profile here. Feels like I've got a little too much curve in here. So I'm physically, with the deep throat shrinker, going to take a bit of that out. So right here, it feels too curvy. I overdid it maybe with the English wheel a bit. So I'm just going to take some of that out. It's going to straighten this panel out a bit. Now, you can't tell, but I'm really not pressing hard with this tool. I'm being very, very, very gentle. Yeah, I want it to be very, very slight, especially the transition to the curved part that matches the door. But that should take enough out of that that this panel wants to align to the quarter panel just a little bit better. Yeah, I think we'll do a little more right here. Beautiful. Little by little. Now a guy could quit pretty early on and just to put a 1/4 inch of filler there, we're looking for the 1/8 of an inch, and that's why we'll work an extra, probably double the hours, trying to get the panel to fit good. Yeah, sure looking pretty good here. Yeah, that's come right along. Now see, I've got a little rocking motion right here. Oh no, I don't. It's not that bad actually. Okay. Oh yeah, that's looking really good. Okay. Oh. That's something we gotta address too. I'm gonna keep that in the right spot. Now that we're getting closer, I'm gonna get a few things lined up. I just add one little weld here. It's going to make this harder to travel around, which we want. And what I've done from the original design is I've kind of made it go uphill so that it starts and then goes uphill again. Now we can adjust that however we want. But we're getting down to the point where the millimeters are going to matter here soon, so. Also want, so this really does work better that way, doesn't it? Okay, so it needs one of these in it. Yes. It's really close in here. Okay. I'm going to head off to do some shrinking. You've seen enough of that, so I'm going to do about a half hour's worth of fooling with this panel now that it's at 80% and come back to you. Okay, that didn't take long. I'll try to walk you guys through what I'm thinking and what I'm doing. I'll show you what's happening here. So right here, we've got a bit of an opening on the bottom, and from the back side, we're not quite touching in the middle either. Almost like when I put it through the English wheel, it kind of stretched it this way too much, whereas the door is kind of flat. So what I'm doing is I'm taking some of this out just lightly, bit by bit by bit, with the pedal press and the shrinker. Super lightly, because I don't want to change the overall shape of the panel. I want to take some of the forward to back crown out of it. Again, I'll show you how gentle we're being here. I'm hardly putting any pressure on because I don't want to change what's already really good about the panel. Okay, so we want this initial profile to be good against the door, and then we're going to transition it. So you see lots of shrink marks there, light little baby ones. What I should have done is done some of it with a rubber band on the big wheel, and then it would stretch it this way, but not as much this way. But had I not made that mistake, you guys wouldn't be learning anything. Yeah, there we go. Closer, 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 closer. Okay, be right back. Now, contrary to popular belief, we don't do a ton of sheet metal work. We do it, like I've said before, for 6 months while we're doing rust repair, and then we don't have to do it again for a while. So sometimes we got to get our head back in the game. That's what I'm doing right now. Yeah, we're good back there. We're good all the way across the bottom here. Perfect. So at this point, I think I am going to physically cleco this into place so I can keep working with it. Just look at there. There. What this will do is allow me to reference back to the same spot over and over again, because my changes now are getting so minor. I have to come back to these same spots. Yeah. Digging it. Digging it. You can see we keep wanting to do that stretch, right? So we'll attack that little by little here. And again, I think I'm working with too much panel. So I'm going to get a little bit closer to the final shape. I think I've got maybe an inch there that I got to take off. So I'll take even 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch off, so I'm not fighting it so much. Yeah, look at that. So all of this is really putting a big strain on me trying to get it to the right spot. So I'm going to knock that down to 3/4 of an inch. Panel keeps getting smaller, and realistically, the smaller it is, the easier it is to work with. I could feel there's a tension there. Just work that out a little bit. Okay, now it's quite proud here, so I think we're going to work on that just a little bit. It's too proud. But it fits way nicer in here now that there's not so much material to pull it to. Okay. Let's go try that. Nope. Wrong one, JF. That looks better. Oh, yeah. Just keeps getting better and better. Oh, yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to hold that in place. If I mentioned a couple times, this is probably the hardest part of this whole transformation on this car. Has to look right, has to be finished right. We're there. We're really there. We're there. Okay. Okay. Put it back together. Show you guys where it's getting really, really close. Here, I'll show you guys before I go any further. See how nicely that lines up against the door curve, right along there. You can see it right here. You can see it's a little loose right there. And there's tension, so I gotta fix that before I get going. That pulled together nice. A little bit here, but I don't think that one's a problem. And then all the way to the back, without any tension, is super nice. So, I'm gonna mark it from the back side. So I've got the right size piece. And then I'm gonna scribe this from this outside and see what we've got for difference. And I think we're really, really getting there. Yeah, just like that. Okay. Perfect. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, Calvin will hold the phone. This last little bit of this, like the transition's beautiful here. These transitions are quite good. I'm having a really hard time getting this to settle down. Here's what's happening. See that? There's just a lot of tension on this piece. And it's got a crown from maybe a little too much English wheel. Now you saw me try to take some of that out by shrinking. Luckily, I've set this up for success. I'm gonna show you guys what I'm gonna do to get that straight. Calvin's gonna help me. We're physically gonna bend the 90 into this on a table. And because the table's flat, as we bend the 90, it should straighten it out a bunch. So that's next. All we need is a hammer and a helper. So this isn't normally the way you'd do it. Normally you would do it on the table like this and then bend it. We're gonna try to do it upwards so you guys can kind of see it happen. We are going to take that down just a little, yeah. There. Okay, so when I fold this, because we did that against a straight edge, it should straighten out the part that I was struggling with. We'll see how it fits the car here. Yeah, there it is. So it wasn't off by much, but if I started to weld it, it would have had just a crown there, just enough of a crown that would have made it look like it was down right here where it meets the door. Well, now that's completely gone by making a nice straight line there. And it took that shrink and that swell that I was fooling with right out of it. So I'll just put a vice grip there. That should do it. Yeah, so if you look, just about. A little bit more right here. I'll end up pulling that down. One more of these. So what we want is a straight line off the door into here, and then it can start slowly climbing, but we want this first little bit to be flat. And that created that. Now I need a little more curve in here. So a little bit more English wheel right there to sort of pull that down. Maybe a little more shrinking here, pull that around. Like I said, probably the most complex part of the build so far. It really isn't an easy panel. Okay, yeah, so I'll put some X's here so we can English wheel that. And then we may even change that 90 just a little bit. Kind of happy there though. Yeah, you can see the profile's good from here. That just has to come down just a touch and all as well. Okay. So what I noticed is we need to go right to that line. So we're going to fold this just a little further back. Okay. Man, that piece, it is complex. The hell they got running out there? Yeah, the shape's definitely where I want it to be. Too much tension. And that's because it went crowned like this again. Yeah. So I got to take some out of that. It doesn't take much. I've been back and forth on it all day.
It's interesting. The English wheel kind of curves it in both directions.
It does.
At least with this wheel.
And if you put a piece of rubber here, it doesn't. And I should have done that to begin with. Now I'm paying the price. Super complex panel. Yeah, that's the best it's looked all day, so we are cooking. What happens is I get this section really good, and this one's a little weird, so then I go play with this one, and it blows this one up. So, what's funny is I might have had it closer about a half hour ago. Yeah, one of the things I'm trying not to do, I'm trying to give it the right shape, not pull it into shape.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because the more you pull it into shape, the more when you apply heat, it'll kind of move away on you.
Yeah, makes sense.
We're getting there.
That and imagine if you ever get in like a collision, the damage from the dent probably goes crazy if there's a bunch of tension in it.
No, not once you've heated it up.
Oh, I see.
Not once it's been welded. So I think I'm getting there. It's all in how hard these vice grips have to pull to get everything in place.
You don't think they're working too hard, right?
No, when they're not working hard, you know you're there. And the problem, that's just like oil canning. If you're really, really close sometimes, you should just quit right there and carry on.
Yeah, that look,
Yeah,
that radius looks like it's part of the body. That looks perfect.
yeah, it's there. So I think it's time I scribed it and continued on. So the other thing I've done in the past is I've just gone ahead and cut, which I really prefer actually. So I might just do that now. I just cut a big section open, tack it, tack it, tack it, tack it. And then,
Yeah, because it's going to be trouble once, once these aren't.
my thought is I'm gonna tack this whole space, not quite finish weld it, and then I'll pull this one down after. Because this one's just resting on a little piece of cold roll steel, right? So I can push the metal that way once I'm happy with it.
No.
It's hard to add metal this way once you've cut it, right? No. And I want to start at the trickiest spot and work my way to the little itty bitty end. Because this metal, see how flexible it is all by itself? Yeah. This one needs a lot of shape, so.
Does this not need a slightly different shape where it does this? Or are you going to work?
We're going to blend that.
You're going to make something new.
I'm going to blend that, yeah.
Now, when we would work on, rebuilders or my cheap, shitty vehicles, right? Sometimes you just overlap the panel when you're patching.
Yep.
What's the reason for not doing that here besides saving just a bit of filler?
I'm just trying to show good metalwork, and I think it's a valuable car. But this is how we do all the hot rods, is we butt weld them. So yeah, if you're at home and you're adding a patch panel to your 97 Dodge, you can just step it, couple clecos, everything holds itself really nice because there's a step in it. And then when you weld, you're not warping it. So way better thing to do if you're doing it at home as a patch panel. If you're trying to work a little harder for something really, really special, this is the way to do it. It just involves a lot more work and a lot more effort. So what I am going to do is I'm going to have to open this door up. And because I'm going to cut the two apart right here, I'm going to have to start the little cut right here on the inner piece so I can peel it back like a sardine can. So I got a little bit of cutting here to do. Zip, zip, and then get organized. I'm going to tack this into place so that I have everything in the right spot when I'm cutting. And to do that, just going to put a little pressure to make sure everything's the same height. Now I'm going to start from a little ways out and work my way this way. I don't know, it's like when you're applying decals. You always kind of work from the center out. Unfortunately, this is a little far for me to start, I think. Might not be. Yeah, I could just give her a little more. That would mean trying to do this. Okay, well, I'm going to start over here then. So, got my welder set up. I'm going to put a welding helmet on so I can see what I'm doing. I'm getting blind at this age. I got a set of cheaters in here. Make it easier to see. Show you guys what happened here, because it's really worth noting. See how I had a gap here that sort of 16th, 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 16th? Look what happens when we get to the end. It all closed up. So that was a good idea to start at the center. And that's why we do that. Now we can work the problem out. Pretty simple fix. I'll cut the 16th back into it, weld it up. Now, I can tell this is a little bit proud, and that's part of what was wrong with the original quarter panel. I had no way to shrink that. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to run some hot welds in and shrink them, and it'll actually shrink that space. I'm going to keep that real handy. I'm going to burn in some hot welds, and I could just see the crown's just a little fat here. So this section right here, I'm going to shrink that down by heating it, shrinking it. This is why sort of paying attention to your panel all the way through is really important. I think I'm going to have this beat in no time. I'd have to show you guys, but that is super, super nice. So what I'll do is I'll do the next section here, and I'm going to work my way out that way to get out of this guy right here. So back to cutting. If you've been paying attention, you'll notice at this point I'm not solid welding that section because I want to carry that heat out if I can. So I'm going to try to get all of this cut apart first. We got one spot that's a little tight here. You guys may have noticed I was cutting like this on purpose. Just going to open that up to a 16th again. The reason that's important is I want somewhere for the heat to go. So it gives us a little room for expansion here. Oh, that feels nice. For how tricky this panel was, I'm really happy how it's coming together. Then I'm just going to keep going, cutting and grinding. Let's see how that's coming along. You get some areas like this that are a little bit fat, but overall, it's looking really good. The problem with the fat areas is you end up having a little extra heat from filling that with weld, but it's marginal here. I think we're doing really well. I'm just going to go to that point there. I don't want to go too far here. It won't take much for this little end to just run away on me, so. This is what comes off the back side of that, right? That way you only have to cut once, and you know the cut is way more precise than trying to fit two panels together. All right, a little more welding. Soon enough, Teresa's going to be grinding. Okay, I'm going to start to do some finish welding here. I'm going to start from here, make the spaces smaller, and then I'm going to put some heat in on all the spots I think need to be shrunk. This spot is actually a body line that comes through here that I didn't notice before, but it looks like it's working out well. So, it's that time again. What time is it? Time for your favorite grinder to get to work. Introducing Teresa Simpson. All right, doubling as Gary today.
I'm doubling as.
Okay. Now, did you watch the episode where I taught you how to grind? Here, we're going to teach Teresa how to grind again. Okay, you're going to start with this one because it's got a bigger head on it. See the difference in size of the head?
Yeah.
Look at this, guys. Okay, bigger head is better right now.
Bigger head is better.
And you're going to cruise around, remember, on the top of the welds only. If you touch this or this, then you have to leave it be.
Okay.
We want to just knock the top off, and we don't want to put any heat in it. Right here is going to get tricky. All right.
Okay.
fits. Hardly anything for filler. It sure looks nice.
Okay.
That's a wrap.
He's pretty amazing, isn't he?
It's late. I'm tired and hungry.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
Looks good though.
Looks pretty.
Even though my buddy Carl Fisher didn't show up to help me, I still managed to make it work.
Okay, you guys.
We've
another-
still got lots to do on the inside of that. If you guys want to see that, let us know, because it's going to get complicated making panels for the inside. It's less exciting to look at, but it's nonetheless hard work. Get it done right. Yeah. And then if you didn't get enough tips on that one, let us know. We'll let you watch me do the other side.
Wanna watch it again?
Want to watch it again?
And again?
Oh man.
Okay. Well, a little more of the Porsche.
So there it is though. It's finally a speedster.
Yay!
Eat your heart out.
I love
Fernando, is it Fernando Porsche?
Ferdinand.
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 Ferdinand Porsche.
Yeah.
Eat your heart out. In 1964, you should have made a speedster.
Yeah.
There.